So as I'm marking and laying out this timber sale, I'm looking for opportunities for those groups, areas that we want to regenerate. And I'm trying to get at least a quarter acre up to a half acre of sunlight on the forest floor. So as I'm marking, and I'm marking trees to be removed, I'm looking for groups of trees that are in decline, are mature. And this is one area where I plan to do a groups. And I was walking up the hill marking, and I noticed a lot of sunlight. That's strange. It's a very dark hardwood forest. Why is there so much sunlight? And I got up to this area and I noticed a lot of ash, and a lot of ash that was actually in decline. And in looking at the tops of the ash in this area, I noticed a ton of dieback. That's the top of an ash tree, 2 ash trees actually. And at this time in the summer, early August, late July, these should be full green, very lush, very thick crowns. And so looking at that, I know these trees are stressed, that we're concerned that trees in Randolph may have emerald ash borer. We haven't found ash borer in Randolph yet as of the summer of 2023, but we know it to be in neighboring towns. And so when I looked at this tree, I wondered, is this emerald ash borer? And I noticed some woodpecker flecking, and that's a classic sign of emerald ash borer. I did some peeling and to try to see some galleries, and it turns out it wasn't emerald ash borer. See these galleries here. It's just a native bark borer.
So if it was emerald ash borer in that tree, this is what the galleries would look like. This serpentine boring pattern is unique to EAB. This is what the larva looks like in an ash tree.
So that's just another sign to me that these trees are under stress. If you've got some pest problems in a tree, you got a weak crown, I know something's going on. I might not know exactly what's going on. I do know that the trees in this group here are stressed. And so knowing that, I know these trees are probably gonna die sometime soon. I mean, there's ash on the ground currently. These are large ash trees that are breaking and falling due to some kind of rot. It could be ash yellows in here, could be some site-related issues with water. Ash is very sensitive to soil moisture changes, either drought or too much water. So something's going on, and I think this is a great place for a group here. And I want to regenerate more ash, knowing emerald ash borer is coming. So the reason I want more ash in these groups is as emerald ash borer is coming through Vermont and spreading and killing our overstory ash, we want young trees to replace our big trees. Ash will go after, if they're really hungry and they've depleted all of the large ash in an area, they'll eat on an ash tree as little as an inch. But by the time that happens, it could be 5 to 10 years away, maybe more, before that happens. And hopefully by that point, we have a biological control there. We can release an area and keep emerald ash borer at a steady level, where it's not just decimating and killing all of the ash in an area. So I want the young growth here to have a chance to come up and get large and have that biological control available to help protect those young trees that we want to regenerate now. So it's super important right now with the threat of emerald ash borer to be giving an opportunity for young ash to become established. And so I'm shooting for a quarter acre to half acre. That's right in the sweet spot for ash to become established. It's a good ash seed year last year. Ash seed is viable in the ground for up to 3 years. So getting some sunlight on the ground, the seeds will know there's more heat. It'll heat the soil. The seeds in the soil will then know to germinate because there's more heat in the soil, and knowing that there's sunlight. So those young ash trees can get established and have room to grow. So that's the goal. One of the many goals we have for this upcoming harvest is to regenerate ash among other trees in these groups. We're planning to regenerate about 3 acres in quarter acre to half acre groups throughout this hardwood stand. Knowing that emerald ash borer is near the town of Randolph, we're in an area, we're concerned we're gonna find emerald ash borer sometime soon. Because of that, we are reducing the amount of ash that is in this forest. Currently, it's around 13% up to 15% in areas of ash. And so when emerald ash borer comes through, the likelihood of those trees surviving is low. We expect 90% of those trees to die. So there is resilience in some of the ash trees here. We don't know what those trees will look like. We're just looking at them. It's genetic resistance. So we don't want to cut all of them. We definitely don't want to do that, but we do want to reduce the number. So we don't want to have just 15% of our trees dying all at once. So we want to leave some trees. We want to cut some of our more valuable trees. Ash is a valuable tree. It's used for shovel handles, baseball bats. It's got a lot of uses. But it's a super important tree for our northern hardwood forest. So as I'm marking here, I am leaving some ash trees like this guy, just to see if he makes it. He might make it, he might die, he might be resistant, he might be resilient. We just don't know. We don't know unless it gets exposed to emerald ash borer. Trees like this guy here are going to be retained. I've got a number of trees I'm retaining, quite a few actually ash trees that I'm retaining. I'm just not a whole-scale salvage of all the ash trees in the forest. That doesn't really do anybody any good. It's not going to slow the spread of emerald ash borer. It's also not going to stop it from coming into this area. Emerald ash borer can travel 2 miles a year as an adult beetle. So if it doesn't find ash here, it's going to go to the neighbor. So we got to just maintain it on the forest. We want to keep it around, so we're leaving ash in the forest. But we're also, if we're leaving ash, like this tree here, we're cutting trees like this red maple to give trees like this more room. If this tree's got more growing space, it can photosynthesize more. It'll have more energy and vigor to deal with emerald ash borer when it gets infected. When those beetles come in and attack this tree, it'll have more energy to deal with that stressor if it has more growing space. So we're marking some trees around this ash tree to give it more growing space.